Hello and welcome back once again to movie reviews. So, final movie of the year. There is one more movie coming out this year that I wanted to see, but unfortunately it doesn't open until December 31st, and I want to get these out and do my cutoff and get the year-end stuff done before then, so this is going to have to be the last one. And the final movie is Daddy's Home. I do want to mention I was also going to see Concussion, but that's playing up at the other theater, so I wouldn't be able to get to see that until Tuesday. And I'm already past my cutoff, sort of, just to squeeze this in, so this is probably going to be the last one. Maybe I'll do Concussion as like a early January review, even though it's a 2015 movie. Maybe that'll make the 2016 list. Who knows? Hateful Eight definitely will be 2016, though. So the final movie of the year came out on Christmas. I'm seeing it a couple days after, and that is Daddy's Home, starring Will Ferrell and Mark Wahlberg. Now, unlike Joy, which I saw yesterday, this movie is exactly what you see in the trailer, pretty much 100%. Everything that happened in the trailer basically tells you everything you need to know about this movie, but at the same time, it doesn't make it any less funny. It was enjoyable, especially the kids. The kids were adorable, especially the little girl, and just like the way she randomly like yells stuff. And it's just like, oh my god, did she actually just say that? And like then the mother's like, honey, you're not supposed to say that. So it's like those kind of jokes. So it starts off introducing Will Ferrell's character and how he's into the family. And at first, it seems like the kids aren't really warming up to him that much, but then they slowly start to as time goes on. And then Mark Wahlberg's character of the actual father comes in. So then it does the airport scene, and then it leads into the next morning of, they invite him to stay the night for some reason. I think it was completely by accident. The whole thing is Mark Wahlberg's character is kind of a guy who can play mental games with people really well. Like, he'll get in your head and make you think something and do something based on what he kind of suggests. So it's basically him playing this mental game with Will Ferrell's character just to try and see, one, if he's worthy, or to get rid of him. It's kind of unclear at first. They do narrow it down towards the middle-ish end of the movie. Like the three-quarter mark of the movie, they're finally like, yeah, this is what I was doing the whole time, But so he gets invited to stay with them while he's in town. It leads into the next morning. They do the motorcycle scene because the whole reason he's getting on the motorcycle is because the mother's car is in the garage and she's trying to leave for work. And he's like, I was just going to get in the shower. Hey, Will Ferrell, would you mind moving it for me? Because Will Ferrell had said that he used to ride a motorcycle when he was in college, I think. So he's like, yeah, no problem. And that's when it takes off and he goes through the wall. And because of the hole in the wall, they have to hire a contractor to come in and repair it. So that introduces Hannibal Buress' character, whose name was Griff. And at first, Mark Wahlberg's like, why does she need to hire a contractor? She's got two men living here. I'm good with tools. I'm assuming you're pretty good because you're building the treehouse in the backyard thing. Why does she need a contractor? We can knock this out in like a day. He goes, okay, well, I'll go fire the guy. Well, then, because it's Hannibal Buress, a black guy, Will Ferrell is kind of backing down, and I don't think it was so much that he was black and that he was intimidated to fire. Well, if they were playing it like he was intimidating to fire him, but I think what it kind of originally came down to was Hannibal Buress seemed like a nice enough guy, so he's like, let him do it. So he's kind of like, he's already started, and then Mark Wahlberg's character's like, so wait, are you afraid to fire him because he's black? And he's like, no, it's not that at all. And he goes, so you're not going to fire him because he's black? He goes, well, either way, it kind of makes him a racist, And he's like, no, that's not that at all. So then the kids start calling him a racist throughout the movie, which really only plays out when Hannibal Buress' character is around, because he's like, because he thinks that Will Ferrell's character is now a racist, he kind of gives him shit all the time. It's like at one point, he's like, he kind of throws out, what is it, because I'm black? You think I'm going to rob you? Or, something like that. And he's like, no, it's not that at all. I'm not racist. So there's like that joke that runs through the entire movie. At one point, Griff actually switches over to his side, but then like switches back, which is a cute little play out. So So that's all going on, and then the mother kind of tells Mark Wahlberg's character, give him a break. If you saw how much he actually does for your kids, you might respect him a little bit more. So then Mark Wahlberg's kind of observing what goes on, what all Will Ferrell does, being like scout leader, doing all this other stuff, working with the PTA and everything. And he kind of feels like he's being undermined, so he starts like giving them gifts and stuff. So then Will Ferrell's like, well, I can do that too, and that's when the whole Christmas scene comes in. And part of the Christmas scene is Will Ferrell gets the boy tickets to see the Lakers game. I think it was the Lakers. And it's like pretty good seats. I think they're like third row center or something. So that's like part of his fake Christmas gift. And then as they're at the party, it turns out that Mark Wahlberg's character knows somebody there, and he's like, who like works for the team. And he's like, oh, why don't you and your family come down and sit with the players, and you can meet Kobe and all the other guys. So the kid's like, oh, can we really? And Will Ferrell kind of gets irritated by this and kind of has an outburst, and then the mom's kind of like, why don't you just stay up here then? So he stays in the other seats that he paid for. They all go down to the court side. And at one point, it seems like she's going to kind of turn around to him and, like, wave him down, but then she sees, like, he's chugging, like, all these tall boy beers, like, one after another because he's pissed. And she kind of turns back away from him. And then it turns out the seat he's sitting in is the one that gets the free throw shot. And he's just completely hammered at this point because he's drank, like, 20 tall boys. And that's when they bounce the ball off the cheerleader's head. And so then it kind of comes down to he made an ass of himself, so he leaves. And Mark Wahlberg's character is trying to, like, move in on the wife, and she's like, what are you doing? He's like, oh, too soon? And she's like, if you're going to be here and be a father to your kids, I can't deny you that, but, you need to go someplace else. But he goes, no, I really want to be here for the kids. So she's like, okay, we'll be here tomorrow, pick them up for school, take them, whatever. So Mark Wahlberg's character is trying to finally do the dad thing, and, like, he's not used to the routines and all that, so it's kind of that Mr. Mom. If you ever seen Mr. Mom, it's like the whole opening sequence from that. So he's kind of freaking out, and he's like, I can't do this, and he's just going to leave. So Hannibal Burr's character comes and sees Will Ferrell, and he's like, hey, man, I just saw Mark Wahlberg's character, and you need to go say something to him. He goes, well, he doesn't want to talk to me. He's like, well, you two just knock it up, So he's kind of like the guiding voice in the whole thing, even though he's been against one of them the whole time. So they have their little bonding moment, and, they patch things up. Spoilers, by the way, if you don't want to know how it ends. So then they're supposed to go to... They were both invited to go to this daddy-daughter dance by the daughter. And it turns out that she's sitting there the whole time, and neither one of her daddies has shown up. So then the mom's kind of like, oh, it'll be okay, honey. They really wanted to be here, but, things came up, and then they both come in. And, they kind of expect the mom to be happy, but she's just, like, pissed. And then at one point she's like, well, one of you please go dance with your daughter. So then that kind of plays out, and it turns out that once she sees that they've made up, she kind of lets both of them back into her life. Mark Wahlberg's character had actually gotten a decent job while he was there, which was actually at the fault of Will Ferrell, completely by accident. So now he's got money, so he buys the house across the street. He moves in, meets this other girl who becomes his wife, who has a daughter. So now he kind of gets a little bit of payback with the stepdaddy thing. And then, like, at the end of the movie, when they're all being buddy-buddy, you get to meet this other girl's father, who turns out to be... I'm not going to spoil it for you. I was going to say who it was, but it's not. So then, like, Mark Wahlberg's character goes up to introduce himself, and then this girl's father's kind of, like, playing the same thing that he did to Will Ferrell at the airport. He's like, oh, you must be... And he's like, nah, and just walks off. So it's like, Mark Wahlberg's kind of getting a taste of his own medicine, and it completely kind of leaves open if they wanted to spin that into a sequel, they easily could. It'd basically be like a rehash of this movie, but they could easily work that out. Overall, it was pretty funny though. But like I said, the preview kind of gives away the whole movie. But there's a lot of in between points about how they get from this joke to this joke to this joke. And honestly, there's a lot of funnier jokes in between those main jokes. So this trailer actually did a good job of not showing the funniest parts, I could say. So yeah, there's a lot more to it. I recommend checking this one out. It's actually pretty funny. As far as a star rating on this one, I'm gonna go with like a 3.5 on this one. It's, even though it was funny, it's still just kind of an average comedy. It wasn't really enough to really shift my end of the year list at all, like maybe some other movies did earlier. But it easily could have made it onto my top 12 if I was doing a top 12 this year. But since I've decided to change that, which I don't think I've actually revealed yet, or maybe I did, I don't remember. Yeah, this one might not make it onto that list, or it might. You never know. But yeah, I give it like a 3.5 as far as the star rating. So check it out. Still going to be in theaters for a while, probably. If not, then this is probably one I'd actually watch a few times just to, maybe not like consecutively, like maybe like a few months from now or something, like, oh, hey, I'm going to check this out again because it's on TV, or, something like that. One of those, like, when you're sitting at home and it's like late at night and you're just flipping through channels and like some movie you've probably seen 900 times shows up on HBO and you're like, oh, well, I haven't seen this in a while, I'll watch it. Even though there's probably 100 other things on that you could watch, you stop and you watch it. That's what this movie is. This is one of those type of comedies. So yeah, I definitely recommend it. It's better than an average middle-of-the-road movie with still being a middle-of-the-road movie. I don't think I spoiled too much of it for you, not any more than the preview did, at least, other than maybe the ending where Mark Wahlberg kind of gets a little bit of his own medicine, which was actually hinted at earlier in the movie but played out differently than what they said. So yeah, that's basically it for Daddy's Home. Like I said, definitely go see it or rent it when it comes out on Redbox. Check it out if it pops up on Netflix, or go pay a couple bucks to see it in the theater. But yeah, so that takes care of this episode, and this is the last review of the year. So next up will be my end of the year list, and then we'll be going into CES in January. So that is it for this episode. Again, thank you for watching. Remember to like, comment, rate, subscribe, and share the video. That helps this channel grow and lets me know what content you guys like to see. Until then, again, thank you for watching. And until next time, we'll see you at the movies.